I'm excited about what we're doing here, but as excited about what you have going on there. And it's some of the things that we definitely want to share here in the UAE. And I want to talk a little bit about opportunity and what it means. And our network that we've developed called the Nexus system. And it connects to what you're doing there, Les, in New York. You guys developed and set a standard, I think, for incubator programs around the world. Most incubator programs, as I don't have to tell you guys in New York, it takes 2 to 5 years for those businesses to get to market. And in many cases, they die in that first year that we call the valley of death before they ever make a dime in revenue. We've had an opportunity to develop 3 companies that I oversee, Clean and Green Enterprises, Tlb Incorporated, which is a marine hydrokinetic energy company, and a research and development group out of Melbourne, Florida. And then we started a consortium of consulting services for aquaponics, hydroponics, aquaculture, environmental agriculture, and clean water, clean energy solutions over here called GrowWet, GROWET, which is global renewable options for water and energy technology. You can live without a lot of stuff, including food for a good period of time. But you don't get water in about 24 to 72 hours, bad stuff happens, mainly you die. And so these become critical issues in the parts of the world where I live and throughout nations that have salt water as the main source of water. Then they have to desalinate. 50% of the world's desalination comes out of Abu Dhabi, Dubai, here in the UAE. 50% of the world's desalination production. That's mind-boggling. A country the size of Maine in the United States producing 50% of the world's desalinated water. You guys might want to provide some solutions for desalinated water with your clean tech program there in New York. I think you got a market for you. In Saudi Arabia, same thing. They're setting the standard when it comes to solar energy systems and grid parity as it relates to solar energy. That's a big issue. So in order to support these types of operations, you need a network. And what we say is Tlb Networks for you. Now, when we use the word Nexus system, it's a term that I introduced to the United Nations at a Future World Energy Summit. And we're going to go to Greece in November to discuss this with the Undersecretary of the United Nations, Mr. John Clough, and who is also the Executive Director for the Human Settlement Program, Habitat Settlements Program under the United Nations, along with about 8 other individuals. And Les, I want to thank you for connecting me with Andreas, and he's been wonderful in terms of looking at hosting our group to put up an event at the Global Entrepreneurial Summit in Greece in November. So these are global type issues that we're talking about, but we can expand the boundaries and shrink the walls that divide countries using technology. The Nexus system is basically the nexus and ecosystem combined of business. The nexus between the needs of one country to provisions or from the provisions of another country that has maybe greater technological expertise, but no money. And one country that has maybe plenty of money, but not a lot of expertise in the areas of technologies that we'd be used to seeing in the U.S., the U.K., and other places. So how do you bridge those boundaries and expand them to collapse and condense the things that divide us and bring businesses together? We've developed something on the solution side of the equation called a DEP kit, which is basically a digital enhancement performance or peak performance kit, which is keep implementing technological solutions or keep implementing technology where you don't have the answer. And so you then take technology to bridge these gaps that we have between needs and between opportunities that have not actually been explored yet to actually fill the needs that people in this part of the world may have. And so you have a country here, again, that's less than 4 or 5 years old. So although you built a complete nation infrastructure-wise, how do you sustain it? And how do you maintain that in light of the fact that we're now starting to see big challenges when it comes to oil remaining the standard over the next 50 years? It's going to peak at levels that we now are seeing across China. That's no longer just, they are now moving into their reserves rather than just selling oil. They're now buying oil and importing oil. You have situations like the food situation here, where 90% of the food is imported, 60% of that food is lost before it hits the shelf. 60%. So you never see it on the shelf. So somebody's losing a lot of money. And so these problems need to be solved. And if you start to look at ways that we can take technology to either move food production closer to the shores here, do aquaponics, hydroponics, aquaculture type technology and systems for growing food as well as fish. The fishing market here is huge, but the fish have been overfished to the point now where you have fish like salmon that are too young to eat, and you're depleting or making certain populations of fish species extinct. So we need technology in this area to fix that problem, so that in cases that where you have people who are continuously consuming, but in many ways not expanding opportunities to fill the gap around the deficiencies we have for that consumption. So we need greater provision for technology and for growing food and using techniques that we see at the University of Florida. We see it at the FAMU University. We see it at Florida Atlantic, when we start talking about aquaculture and aquaponics and other types of things. Disney champions hydroponics. When you go out to Disney there in Florida, in Orlando, and you go through the food section for vegetables that they have out there. I went through it about 2 years ago. It was just amazing. No soil. Everything is suspended in the air with water and mist. And, it's amazing to see how healthy that fruit is and that you can actually feed people. And actually, all of the food that they cook in their restaurants from the vegetables come from mostly out of their hydroponic farms. And so we know it can be done to feed large numbers of people. Look at the number of people that come to Disney each year. So solutions like toolkits, where we'll go into that another time. I won't hold people there long, but TLB is big, is Innovation Solutions, which is what the IS stands for, and the big is for Business Intelligence Group. We have a company in Florida that does the business intelligence work and provides that to our network, so we have the information we need to drive good business decisions. So we say the network works for you. It works for businesses. It works for our partners. We have a ton of partners on top, is what we say, of business expertise that we provide. TON stands for basically our trusted outsource network, which we basically vet businesses before they get into the network, and we give them a bill of trust to work with us. And then we provide the representation over here. Our trusted outsource partners are key partners that we use within the network to support businesses that want to locate here or transmit and do business here. We have some of those partners in the room with us tonight. They actually are vetted directly through our company because they provide services to our company. Servcorp, Sovereign, Barclays Bank. We do business with Embed and the Islamic Bank. And so Lloyd's London is a part of our network as well. And so we've expanded our opportunities to work with those relationships. And now we're engaging other groups to training on the ground, like those groups that's here in the room with us tonight. We've looked at their track record, and it's outstanding. We know they provide work through the Abu Dhabi Education Council, which, by the way, my wife works for, and I'm proud to say she's the managing director over there right now, actually managing director for the professional development department. And that's $100 million a year department. So they're serious about education over here, though the gap is huge in what we see in the West. Then we take and move to the right side of the quadrant, where we're talking about revenue. This is where iCAN comes in, and we say iCAN New York, but iCAN UAE, which is the program there with Les There are paid memberships and training distribution type opportunities for distributed partnerships and other forms of relationships that you can generate revenue through for customers. And then for people or for individuals, we have a basic membership program where we're going to be joining now with the iCAN-Network, discussion boards, forums, self-help groups, and then shared consultancy. This is where businesses within the network can provide their own consultancy and trade out and barter with one another rather than paying money, but they have to be a member of the network and have gotten a seal of trust in order to be a trusted outsource partner to join the network. We use the website to make this work, and at the center of that is our holding company that does representation, and then we share our client base with the trusted outsource partners in the network to provide them the service they need. So if you were to locate over here, for instance, in the UAE, we would actually allow you to connect with our partners and provide you with the service you need. I just had a little glitch here with one of my slides. Let's move to the second slide.
Terence, we only got a couple of minutes left, so.
Let's do this slide in 2 minutes, these 2 slides. Okay? And then the second slide, basically what we do is to offer services through our program that's basically patented for our desktop services, our maps, which is basically application systems and processes, and we provide the vision that you need to be successful over here. So let's go to the last slide. If you guys can move to the last slide, Les.
Is that the last one?
It's as own knowledge.
Yes.
Basically, what we're doing is we're building bridges. We're building relationships. That's what we do over here. We transfer information through our company, build a relationship with your company, and as you can see, as you move from the left side of that bridge to the right side, there's a net inside of the bridge, which is the World Cup has. Over the water, we're sharing knowledge. And then in order for groups to really benefit from this, they have to own the knowledge. That's where groups like folks come in and train and develop them. And then what we're talking about is basically the difference between languages and understanding cultures. Here, we don't say thanks. We say shukran. So thanks to you, Les.
Thank you, Terence.
No, it's shukran.
You know,